This really started about 10 years ago, and I just happened to kind of fall into human trafficking work. And really, what happened was I was a trained undercover police officer. There's not that many females working within the Oakland Police Department, let alone females that are trained to become undercover officers. And so I was very focused on narcotics investigations in the beginning of my career, and I was going undercover doing narcotics investigations, and that's where my interest was. One day, a sergeant asked me if I could just stand in for another female officer who had been scheduled to do a prostitution-related undercover operation. And I did it. I really didn't want to do it, but I did it, and I thought it was just going to be for the day. And I went out there, and two things happened. The first thing that happened to me was I was scared. And that's really difficult for police officers to admit, right? I mean, because we're not supposed to be afraid of anything. And I'd gone undercover dozens of times in drug-related operations. But the intensity of the traffickers, the intensity of the pimps on the street in Oakland was really eye-opening for me. And then the second thing that happened is I realized that it was not a victimless crime. And I was like a lot of people, a lot of Americans who just thought that prostitution was, a misdemeanor, low-level crime, that was really victimless, and it wasn't really on my radar as far as me being really interested in it. But when I stood out there that day and I looked across the street and I saw that there were young girls and that this was their real life and that I was just pretending to do it for the day and I was intimidated by it. I had a gun on my hip. I had 20 police officers ready to back me up at any time, looking across the street and knowing that those girls were out here and it was their real life and they were by themselves and they had no one to back them up. It completely changed my view on prostitution in Oakland. And from that day on, I kind of just dedicated my career to learning more about trafficking.